and a fade in. Welcome to another edition of Shoot the Messenger podcast. My name is AJ. Joining with me is Kendra.
Hello.
Say hello to the people. An hourly, weekly podcast that we put on all things from the internet, things that interest us, things that are important, pop culture, space, tech, science. Join us, multiple platforms, including
Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. You can also catch us at our website, shootthemessenger.net. We also have a Patreon page.
My God, look at the cat right now. I just want to get the cat down there. Look at him chilling. See how he's sitting? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Anyway,
He's like, I'm a dude's dude, guys.
yeah, he's hanging out fully. All right, so we're gonna skip the introductions this week. Kind of change of pace. You'll notice some new things that we got working on, but we're just gonna jump right into it, Phil DeFranco style. Okay,
Right into it.
So Kendra, I thought you'd be a real fan of this one. Giving the finger, not a crime. That's right. Giving the finger in the U.S. and of course we got swimsuits for sale. Not a crime. This came out of Detroit. A woman in Detroit gave the finger 18 miles southwest of Detroit. Her name is Deborah Lee Cruz Gulyas, Gulyas, Gulyas. And got pulled over for a moving infraction. The cop gave her a break, said, "Hey, not a moving infraction. Gonna give you just a
minor, like a warning almost."
Yeah, but it's not points on your license. It's like a parking ticket, basically. Yeah. And then she gave him the finger driving off, and he said, no finger being given to me. And then he said, like, maybe he pulled her over, said his harm was in the way, or issued the. I have the information. Go ahead.
They said that it was illegal that he pulled her over again because the first stop was completed. Mm-hmm. So he really didn't have a right to pull her over that second time, according to the court's decision.
Right. Oh, he changed the ticket to a more serious speeding offense. There you go. Lesser violation than he did the second stop. Saying her free speech rights, her rights as an unreasonable seizure were violated. What do you think about this?
Her free speech was violated.
Well, no, they always have that phrase, like, you can say what you want to say, but accept the consequences that happen. And do you think that's the case with this?
See, this is this weird gray line, right? Because I feel like there is a little bit of a difference between me giving a middle finger to you and me giving a middle finger to a police officer or a politician, right?
Which one is worse?
I would say that me giving it to you is a little bit more punishable because we are equal, and I'm not necessarily protesting you by giving it to you. It's just a vulgar action. But if I'm giving my middle finger to like a police officer or a politician or somebody who's supposed to represent me, then it kind of goes into that gray area of protesting and the right to free speech, and that's where it gets messy.
Yeah, the judge also said the police officer violated the Fourth Amendment, the right for people to be secure, which prohibits unreasonable searches when he pulled her over again. Now she's taking him back to court and suing for damages. So this might cost a little bit more than they thought. It's going to go to the U.S. District Court for further proceedings. But I defend any freedom of speech. Anything, I think, like, it's getting crazy nowadays, but you should be able to have civil discourse about a lot of things. So I think, like, giving the finger, the right to say the F word, to say fuck. Okay.
Love it.
Love it. We, might lose a sponsor because of it. But you know what? At least we stand up for something, right? If you don't stand for anything, what will you fall for? That's from Hamilton.
It is. I mean, my philosophy about swearing has always been, I don't care if it's about body actions or body parts, but the second you use language to marginalize or put down a whole group of people via like racial slurs or, other things like that, that's when it's not fun. It's not as much fun. Let's stick to body parts and body functions, guys.
Put downs are no fun. Even though it's low hanging fruit, that's fine. Here's something that's also not a lot of fun. Coca-Cola coming out this week. How much plastic it uses? How much plastic it uses in a year? Now, Pepsi, Cola, L'Oreal, H&M have not said how much plastic they use yet, but this is part of their deal. They're trying to reduce how much plastic they use. And
this comes on the tail ends of McDonald's changing their straws and Starbucks changing some of their practices as well. So they're certainly following the lead of some restaurateurs. But this is the first time I think we've seen like a large manufacturer.
I don't think we did this. I mean, I think this is the corporations making decisions. It turns out it's 3 million tons. And they're like, okay, well,
what does that mean?
What does it mean? And they say to picture a blue whale.
Okay, that's
so
big.
A blue whale made of plastic, right? The biggest mammal alive. And I like how they put it as like a sea creature, because it, basically all the trash ends up in the sea. But it's 15,000 blue whales. That's how much plastic 3 million tons is in a year. And that seems like a lot. You picture this giant, like, row of dead whales and then being made out of plastic. You can see how much it is. The ocean's a big place. But I think if we all decided to have cartons, that would be a lot. I would buy a Coke carton if it were available. It's not available. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, but aren't cans more recyclable? And so by your own logic, cans should be flying off the shelves instead of people buying in
I don't know
plastic.
if they're environmentally as friendly or as super friendly with the pollution it takes to make the cans themselves. We do recycle a lot here in Michigan, getting the 10 cents deposit. So the cans do get recycled a lot. I just think, like, given the option, at the same price, I think like a consumer would choose something that is good for the environment. I think given the option. Personally, I don't know. We'll see.
I do agree with you, but it would have to be part of a marketing ploy where it was like advertised on the packaging that this is 100% recyclable. It would have to be an idea that is not only advertised, but people feel good about buying into, I think, in order for it to work well.
Other companies using a lot of plastic. Nestle, all the bottled water, 1.7 million tons. Colgate uses 287,000 tons. Unilever, 610,000 tons, and Burberry, 200 tons of plastic in a year. Burberry. So it had 31 companies in the full report. You can check out the links in the description if you want to search more about plastics being used by companies. But yeah, a lot of waste. A lot of waste. You gotta, it's time we rethink a lot of these things in our lifetime. The way what?
Well, no.
Yeah, no, I like it. I want to get your final thoughts.
I know that there are some countries that are moving to completely remove plastics from like food preservation, including some companies like Whole Foods. I read something about how they're getting rid of the single-use plastics to cover up their foods that you would purchase. But there is access to those things. Farmers markets and stuff.
I worked in a company that offered paper straws, couple different kinds this summer, and people hated them. They'd have to use 2 for 1 drink. They just fall apart, and you can't get any suction. They bend, and then it's over. It's like sucking through a carton. So there has to be some technology's got to come along a little bit. You got to be like, come on, technology, come along.
I do agree that the technology has not moved along, but farmers markets don't have plastics on their foods. I feel like also part of it is it's easier to buy food in a plastic container. Mm-hmm. It's easier to get those types of materials because it's just that's the way that society does it.
Well, it makes the food last longer, right? Preserves. So, I mean, that's why it's easier because they can ship it further distance, right? And we have a selection of things in plastic. Buying fresh is good. It doesn't last as long, right? That's why you wrap it up in saran wrap, put it in the fridge. It doesn't last as long. So it's about convenience, but it's also about saving money, making things last longer, preserving things. So, it's a tough one. It's about time for technology to come along. So, yeah, we should make that. But I got to, you know what? Speaking of coming along, some people, they start one place and they end up another place. This gentleman is no stranger to the movie scene, but in 1984, he was packed beyond love of 2001, beyond the death. Today's movie in review, 1974. Sean Connery's Zardoz and Kendra's bad movie review. Kendra, take it away.
Oh, this art film. It is indeed an art film.
We did the new intro, by the way.
Yes, did you know?
That's why I put on the headphones so I could hear it. Okay, good. Yeah.
So I have to admit, AJ was the one that did kind of enlighten me to the concept, because about halfway through I was trashing this film, and I will get into the synopsis very soon. And AJ was like, Kendra, think of it as an art film. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely. This is an art film, guys, because it is exploring the concept of escaping death via an almost utopian society and how it could corrupt humankind. And oh, by the way, there are crystals involved. So very
healing crystals?
Crystals of some sort. This was truly the embodiment of 1974 between the orange costumes that they wore, as well as, and so there were 2 different types of societies in this movie.
Look at that, Sean Connery. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
He's a warrior.
He's a brutal.
He's a brutal.
So there were two types of people class.
These guys in the background are brutal?
Yep, they're all brutals.
So brutal.
So these are the mortal beings that exist on Earth.
Nice.
Humankind split into the immortals and the mortals because society was collapsing. So the big head...
This thing that he's in?
Yep, the big floating head. That is one of the most iconic scenes besides the orange bikini that Sean Connery is in, that I never understood where the floating head came from. I'd seen references in Family Guy and a few other cartoons. I think maybe even Rick and Morty did a spoof on the floating head. And so if you're wondering where the floating head comes from, it's from Zardoz. So
I was wondering the face he's making. He's like, Urgh.
It's very conceptual art. It's kind of startling and alarming. There's no wonder the
Is he in pain? I don't get it. Okay.
The
Sparkling
Brutals
eyes.
consider this floating head their god.
Okay.
Right? So he gave them orders to breed and to kill and to do these things. And Sean Connery, our main character, he, you find out later in the film, he stumbled into a library and taught himself to read. And so he realizes, after reading Wizard of Oz, that his god was fake. So Zardoz, Wizard of Oz.
That's a huge leap. After reading all those books, and Wizard of Oz is the one that enlightens you. You know, you think you'd pick up on it before you discovered the Wizard of Oz. There you have the floating head there. Okay.
And the director did comment when they got to the Wizard of Oz section in the commentary movie, you know, I wish I'd had more money. And
oh, really?
And I don't understand how that would have fixed the Wizard of Oz plot hole, but more money would have certainly fixed the problems that I had with the costumes.
Right.
I mean, of course, there's the iconic Sean Connery, which at least we can thank this movie for bringing this ridiculous outfit to life.
You just love it. You keep using words like thank you and praise and like all hail Sean Connery.
It's ridiculous.
Okay.
So the big problem with the costumes in this film was the NPF ratio was just way too high. And what I mean by that is nipple per frame.
A lot of nipples.
Because Sean Connery's shirtless the entire time. One of the male costumes in the Immortals or whatever, his shirt was cut like directly under the nips, like perfectly framing the nips. So
it was an art piece.
Indeed. You could also see the artsy.
This is the scene. This is the Bruce Lee scene with the mirrors. If you ever watched Enter the Dragon, yeah, they had one of those in it. Yeah, go ahead.
There was a lot of scenes similar to this where there'd be like a cut scene where he was going through something and they would use mirrors and projections and all of these. I'm sure at the time, 1974, it was probably like different. Nobody had done some of these things. But lots of projections, lots of just these unique type frames. Now, I do think that the concept is interesting. This idea of there's no such thing as utopia, because the second we get to utopia, we tend to corrupt it, and it tends to make us. It just cracks our mortality and what helps guide our moral compass. So this was, of course, an exploration in utopia and mortality.
Yeah.
So overall,
I mean, can I add something?
Please do.
Because I did watch it.
Yeah.
You know, people mention it. It's incredibly hard to follow. You don't know exactly what is going on or where he is or if it's a big metaphor for something or what they're trying to convey. Kind of like in the beginning of 2001 where the monkeys touch the thing and they throw the bone up in the air and it turns into a gun. Is that actually happening? And it was a big drug trip. It obviously took place in the 70s. There's a lot of psychedelics, like the lady puts the person underneath a sheet, very LSD trippy. You know, I've seen a lot of videos and research, so it kind of looked a lot like that.
It did.
Heavily influenced. Ooh, what? This lady getting her face stretched. But the lady, you know, is heavily influenced by the 70s, wouldn't you say? The culture?
Very much so. The whole Immortals society, they dressed in these flowy garments. They all had this very hippie commune vibe to them. Plus the fact that the whole concept of immortality was based around the fact that they got into this crystal. I think if I was following the movie correctly, like that's how
There's
they
one part where
got immortality.
They're singing at a guy and they're like, oh, and they're giving him this, you know,
the psychic mojo.
Man, it's 70s. It's 70s for sure.
It is 70s.
Are you ready to rate?
I am so ready to rate.
Okay, let me. You're gonna see a lot of Starship Troopers here, but I gotta pull them off. Pull off. This is from last week now. Okay, Kendra. Now we've had our first 5 Starship Trooper rating. Zardoz, obviously a classic.
Indeed, a classic indeed.
Do we have its original ranking from our original ranking from oh, I got some extra stuff going on up top, but it's all right. Original ranking from like
Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, let's do that.
Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 45%.
A 45%. Okay. All right, let's get back to the Starship Trooper rating.
Now, according to General Google, users 77% did like this film.
Good reference.
The classic.
Is it worth a star?
Zardoz.
1 star.
Yes.
Bing.
It gets a point for artsiness.
Johnny Rico. She says a point. I'm getting kind of nervous now. Do we even have 2 stars? 2 stars?
No.
Oh, I felt it.
It gets the point for being artsy and for those leaps in imagination and kind of exploring the idea of utopia. But man, like pulling the concept out of air into that concrete thing that Zardoz was just did not translate.
No, I'm sure not.
I mean, really, if the costumes were better, it may have made a large difference to me. Because it was just too jokey, looking at all the nips. So much nipple.
It's a lot of nip. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. 1 Starship Trooper rating. Very good job. If you have requests, you can send them to the Facebook page, or you can Reddit, or whatever you want to do.
Contact us. Let us know.
Whatever floats.
Leave a message in Twitch chat.
You'll notice some new intros that I've been working on this week in the show. 1 or 2 new intros is what I've been working on. So you'll notice that, and just if you're a watcher, I worked on them a little bit because I care about the show. I care about you. And this guy cares about his home city of Wooden Bong. Wooden Bong. He says it's the biggest tourist attraction he's going to make, because he's going to make a giant wood bong for this northern South Wales city of Wooden Bong. A giant wood bong. He says it's destiny. It's bound to happen. He just wants going to fulfill it. Really?
I kind of like this idea a lot, because he's not wrong in his idea that it's a good publicity stunt. It's a great idea for publicity stunt. Is it the publicity
stunt. Because, just because it is one doesn't mean it's the one you want, though.
I think it's the time for it, AJ. Just because it's not the one you want doesn't mean it's not the time.
It's not even legal there. It's not like it's happening in the States, I mean, he's in South Wales, so it's like, he's like, a bong is for smoking, like a vessel. A cup is a vessel for water. Let's get this guy a little bit. He's kind of interesting.
Fiji. Unsure what type of timber, but it's a ladies' bong for ladies.
And he pulls this giant bong over. See, this bong that he's got right here, this isn't even the one he's using for the city. He's got plans for a giant one with a visitor center in the bottom.
Oh,
he wants
so
to
like
put.
It's a building. It's like the basket building almost.
It's more progressive than our home city was about allowing cannabis into the city or what's going to happen.
I think that he is an independent artist and has not yet received city approval to place this.
They interviewed this guy's like, hey.
Probably mislead visitors to the area as to what we're all about. This is a harmonious and very productive little community, and we have really good family values here, and I don't think this sort of publicity would be useful. And the other thing is the name Wooden Bong derives from a local Aboriginal language, and I think to name or try and badge the town on a wooden bong, as you say, would really be disrespectful
to the
Aboriginal community.
I mean, but
she loves it. She's not worried about the Aborigines.
Love it.
It'll probably attract
So, like, a bong is literally a water pipe. So when they say, like, well, a billabong is a water hole, well, yeah, of course, yeah. So that's why it's called a bong, is because it has water in it.
You talking billabong is the Aboriginal term
for like watering hole, right?
Oh, but wooden bong is that Aboriginal?
Well, I know the word bong is. I don't know if wooden is.
I didn't realize that. Okay, yeah, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because Billabong was super
huge. It is kind of
huge.
disrespectful. It is kind of jokey, but like, talk to the Aborigines, clear it with them. It's just like some of these some of these universities that give back to the Native Americans that they do, and the Native Americans are like, hey, we're fine with it. It actually gets the word out. Some are.
The NFL, like the NFL, you're talking about like the big, like
Well,
the colleges
Chiefs,
and
some of the college, some of the people have cleared it with the locals. The locals like, hey, no, we're for it. They do big things for us. You know, so this could, you know, you maybe find a way to give back.
Absolutely.
We're looking for a way to give back in this show. Kendra says, hey, we need to figure something out to give back. And you're right. We're not really in a huge position, but look, this guy's all about bongs. We'll find a way to give back.
I like it.
And the show will, you know, keep trudging on.
Just for the record, his counselor, Lindsay Passfield, did not mind the idea of a big thing, but said that bong was not what they were going for. She's quoted as saying, it's an innovative idea, but I think it's totally inconsistent with the culture and values of the local community.
Yeah, probably. You got to go. In the end, they have the final say. But here he is with his final thoughts. He thinks it will happen, and it's bound to happen, and he wants to be the one to purvey it. Here we go.
The comedy factor speaks for itself. It's just painfully obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's an unfulfilled prophecy. It just has to be played out.
There you are. Get my smoke on there in the town of Woodenbong. Has to be played out. How do you like the nature background
I
today?
love it. It's good.
iTunes listeners, you can always join us on Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. You know, just pick fucking one of them. I don't give a shit.
Twitch.tv/True Snows, where you can catch us live right around 2 o'clock
So
on
you gotta
Saturdays.
be everywhere nowadays. It's like, it's so much. Anyway, I want to do one job well, which is convey information, good information. And let's cover some major news. Of course, a lot of people seeing the planes grounded. The 737 MAX 8 flights been grounded across the United States, around the world. Boeing's recalling them. And they're still trying to find out what the heck's happening. Something with the nose being pushed up or pushed down too far automatically, right?
Well, I did hear something about they were concerned that they had maybe overcorrected because the 747s, when they had changed something, it did cause a tip in the nose
Yes.
of the plane.
Yes,
And
automatic tip.
So exactly, to compensate for a problem that they were dealing with. So best of luck to our airplane engineers.
Oh, we're gonna have to go full screen on this one. And speaking of planes that, you know, no, some planes we're looking at and need safety. This is not a safe plane. Seen some laser shows before, but I've never seen a plane laser show. This is Darude. We'll turn it down a little bit. But as you can see, this plane. Oh, I've gone too far. I've ruined it. But anyway.
You've not ruined it, because really this is something that people should watch on repeat at least twice.
Why?
Because it is amazing.
Wow, I'm surprised you're amazing. I love aviation and flight. So, you know, you've seen laser shows, right?
Right.
Let's explain to them what's happening. It's nighttime, and it's a plane flying overhead with its own laser show.
And then they ump the game by adding
Fireworks shooting from the plane that's shooting lasers back at the crowd.
And then they go ahead and go, you know what, this is not enough. We're going to add
I don't know. What more fireworks?
a loop-de-loop.
Okay, oh, they do a loop-de-loop. Okay.
Like, this is not enough. We got to weave through the smoke and fireworks.
Watch this.
That would be fun.
I mean, I'm just saying, watch this damn thing. Like, it gets like a full-on Phoenix mode. Like, it gets like a blazing... Like, how cool is that?
It's amazing.
It gets like a blazing saddles there, people. Like, it's soaring through the sky, and oh, when I hit the numbers, it changes. But anyway, it looked amazing. It's a great idea. I had read somewhere that it caused, like, you know, ground fires all throughout the night. I couldn't find the article again, but it was causing some problems there in Melbourne. But anyway, you might see that at the next fire show. I mean, it's kind of taking it to the next level, right? Your next big fireworks show.
Well, drones already have the capability of being an unmanned air flight and create a really cool air show. So take the pilot right out of it.
Well, I guess, but then now they're shooting fireworks. And speaking of fireworks, no stranger to rockets or planes or anything of that nature, Elon Musk, your weekly dose of Elon. No intro for that one. No intro for that one. But the SpaceX recovery vessel, have a clip shot of that. Look at this thing. It is destroyed, Kendra, when it comes back. They're going to reuse this thing, like, what did they say, 10 times?
Remarkable. I mean, it's so dark from the burning, re-entering our atmosphere, I take it, is what caused that.
And you got to expect, you know, it's high heat, it's intensity, but you know, they want to reuse these things, apparently. So you wouldn't expect that to happen. Also, Tesla unveiling is Model Y. And also, I got a Fruity Pebbles commercial there. Is that what it is? Is that what I did? Oh my god. Anyway, it's the old school Fruity Pebbles commercial, people, where Barney raps.
Watch me get Fred's Fruity Pebbles.
Who are you?
I'm the master rapper and I'm here to sing. I love Fruity Pebbles in a major way.
And that's all you have to remember. I love Fruity Pebbles in a major way. So the Tesla truck was unveiled. They unveiled the back edge of it, Kendra.
Back edge?
Yeah.
Why the back edge in particular?
That's how you tease things.
Just show them a little back edge.
Now, you remember a few weeks back, we reported on the truck that is going to be headed up by Amazon, right?
The
Rivian?
Rivian?
Yeah, the Rivian. And it can actually transform. It's got the back. I'll play a little bit of this. Just a refresher because we've already covered it. The Rivian, and it's supposed to go like 300 miles. It's the new electric truck. Amazon's behind it, so you got Jeff Bezos money. So it's looking pretty good. So here's what Tesla decided to share with the mass public today in the teaser. This is the photo, the teaser image right here. Let me get you full screen on that. You are full screen on that. Look at you. And it's just the back edge of the truck, right? Now the Model Y has been released, and it's like their second SUV that's supposed to have a ton of storage. This is the back trunk area, it looks like. Or is that the hood? I think that's the hood.
That's why I'm so confused.
It's probably the hood. But this is how you tease stuff. Everybody's saying it looks like Blade Runner. But
it does.
You know, trucks are very popular in this country, so that's going to be coming out soon. And that's the latest on Elon. And the Model Y, I don't know why we covered it last week, didn't we?
We did. The new drop.
Did we get the full Model Y and what it looks like? Here's what it looks like, people. SUV doing great things. I can't even see it because they're asking me to subscribe. But anyway, it's doing great things, the Model Y.
Well, and
Elon's still in hot water, so what else could you ask for?
more hot water.
Yes. Thanks. What'd you have to say about it? I know you want to jump in.
I mean, I'm just excited to see that more electric cars continue to. The competition is heavy, and it's good for all of us.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at the prices, and they start the Model Y starts at like $37,000, right? 30, maybe 38 or 39, somewhere in the $30,000 range. But that's before any options. That's before you get the panoramic roof. That's before you get the wood grain. So you're kind of bare bonesing it, and you can push that up to like $50,000, $60,000 by the time you add all the add-ins. Even the autopilot or certain like things that you would think come standard, you got to pay a little bit more money for.
Now, can you remind me about the door situation? Did any of those vehicles have like the DeLorean doors where it comes up like that?
Yeah, I don't why. I don't know.
Because you're talking about additions to the Tesla, so I was trying to think about whether or not that would be considered an accessory.
Actually,
or
I
if
don't.
that would
I
be
think
considered standard.
the opening of the doors. I don't know. Some of them might come as an option, special option to open it up. I do know the gull wing doors you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do know, but I don't know much about which cars have them. So I'm not an expert.
We'll have to figure out.
We just try to cover this every week. You bring some Elon news next week. Hey, that's your homework then.
What is an accessory when they say Tesla accessories?
And
I'll
now
figure
it's
it out.
time for This Week in Reddit. It's This Week in Reddit. There it is. Ding, 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 ding. We cover Reddit every single week, and seems to be some people's favorite part of the show. But Reddit was asked, and Kendra has man, I messed up. Kendra has an answer
to the question.
What do you highly recommend? We'll start there. What do you highly recommend?
What do I highly recommend?
This person says a curved shower curtain rod. We'll just go through a few of these to get the juices flowing, okay? Because these are good.
The curved shower curtain is a solid recommendation.
It says it doubles the size of your shower.
Think about that. Like it does.
Think about that. The curved shower curtain rod. Yes. Everybody says they're underrated, but yeah, a tub is always kind of too small. This one says fixing and being aware of posture. I was recently discharged from personal training after fixing 8 years of pain with bad posture. It felt like a miracle.
The next comment, I just sat straight up.
I think everybody sat straight up when they heard that. You always want to fix your posture a little bit, but knowing how to fix it is number one, right? Some people don't even know how to hold their bodies. So
yeah,
I thought like dance or gymnastics and or yoga Like doing those like are really good for like body, even though I still slump over at the computer, but I know how to push it all back and get it into place when I'm ready to go. You know?
Well, and I was a kid that adamantly hated gym, but it was required. And I never understood, like, why are we doing these activities? Why are you requiring us to take gym? But as an adult.
Sounds like you.
Yeah, I know. But as an adult, I'm like, oh, this is a vital part of living as an adult and being a healthy human being.
Yeah,
Good to
a
know.
lot of it's important. A lot of that physical activity is important. So fixing and being aware of posture is just highly recommended, Kendra. What do you highly recommend?
Well, I don't, but Double Stitch does recommend learn to cook from scratch. Make a habit of it. You're
Make a
gonna
habit
eat,
of cooking from scratch.
Eat, buddy. Eat better, save money.
Is this something that you've done now?
I have tried it before. I don't make a habit of it.
Well, you know, it's okay. It's all right. You know, sometimes mistakes happen. But I'm trying to cook freaking KFC chicken this week. I got the recipe for Colonel's chicken. 11 herbs and spices. I got them all, and I'm bringing that to the table this week. In fact, let me just segue this. I'll show you. I got those.
The KFC 11 herbs
We
and
already
spices.
bought the spices.
We did. We had to go to the grocery store yesterday and get the original
Because I was
KFC.
excited. The original recipe, copycat. It has things crazy. I know we're getting a little off track, but it's our show. Let me do this shit. It's got, what does it have in it that we thought was crazy?
The white pepper.
3 tablespoons of ground white pepper. They say MSG. They took the MSG out. You got basil, thyme, oregano, celery salt, as well as regular salt. So you got different salts in there. Garlic salt, grounded ginger. Man, there's some stuff in it. We're gonna film it and we'll throw it on the show next week. So we'll have the first time ever some post edited video, and I'll cook the general's chicken, the Colonel's chicken, and we'll see if it tastes like the real thing. I got the buds, man. I've been like, I know the 11 herbs and spices when I taste them. You know.
Well, good,
You know,
because we're
you
gonna
can't fool me. You know, I'm ready.
find
We have the
out.
fresh chicken waiting right there, and I would highly recommend it.
some KFC
Just
homemade.
cooking your own KFC. Other things you can highly recommend. Kendra, give us one more here.
Oh,
Is that your coffee or my coffee?
this is your coffee.
How the hell am I supposed to reach that? Pass it over here. Okay, go ahead. Yes, thank you. Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Sticky lint roller. One in the house, one in the car, one at work. Pet owners. Do you ever have one of those? It's not like the peel off paper.
I've never had one of those. I mean, I've seen them.
I wrecked our families. We had one. It was
You
really
wrecked
good.
it?
I wrecked it.
How do you wreck it?
Well, you put it on the newspaper. I rolled it on the newspaper, and all of the print comes right off on it. I was like, whoa! And then I just kept doing it, and then the whole thing was dark and black, and it was
And then it never did anything again,
It's
did it?
ink. Ink comes out easy, doesn't it?
No.
It does not.
Hobby is what also Delorta highly recommends. A hobby.
A hobby?
Hobbies are good. Hobbies help you blow off steam at the end of the day.
I don't know how somebody doesn't have a hobby is my question. It's like, man, you got to get yourself something, because my mind would go, I go bonkers, man.
Well, that is where
How
a
do
lot
you-
of people hypothesize that substance abuse begins.
Or,
is the lack of a hobby.
Or adulting begins, you know what I'm saying? Like, when people have like working and doing a lot, you don't have time for a hobby. You're taking care of kids, you got a family to raise.
Mhm.
But they still recommend like pushing and getting it done, right?
Well, and you have to set time aside for yourself, or else you will burn out. I mean, it is a part of adulting to find balance in your life and finding ways to set time aside for yourself so you don't fall into those pits of bad habits. And a hobby is a healthy way to keep you out of those bad habits.
Okay, on to Ask Reddit number 2. What mistake should have killed you? Kendra, you got any answers for that one?
I do.
I know you do. Go ahead, spill it.
I was outside using my laptop where I was living, and there was a plug outside, and I went to plug my laptop into the outside plug, and it popped in my hand, and I think I fell down, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember this that well.
You don't
And
remember?
Not that well anymore.
Okay.
And then my hand, I do remember looking at my hand. I remember 2 things. I remember looking at my hand and going, that's not good, because it was dark right here and it was all black. all the way to my fingertips. And the other thought that I had was, oh my God, I hope I'm not dead. I didn't fall down. I did not fall down because I remember standing there and actually turning around to make sure that I didn't die and my body was behind me. I was like, this felt really surreal. I'm just going to make sure that I didn't just pass away. Nope, I'm good.
What? You look behind you to see that if you're...
To make sure that I wasn't like a spirit just standing there and I had died. Like, I don't know what death is like, but I do remember that I had shocked myself. It startled me to the point where I was concerned.
Well, you checked to see if your body was laying there. Is my body laying down?
Just want to make sure.
Like, Kendra, why are you turning around? I gotta see if my body's there. I could be dead.
Nobody was around. It's not like anybody saw that either.
This guy climbed in one of those underpasses that allow a river to flow through. When he was like 5, he got swept up in the current, taken down the river. The only reason why he survived is his dad saw his long hair barely under the current and jumped in to save me. I know that hair.
Oh my.
Yeah. So that's kind of dangerous there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Other ways. This guy was playing with a laundry chute. You ever have a laundry chute growing up? We had a great one.
My grandma did. Yep.
Was it one with the chute, or did it drop straight down into the basement?
It dropped straight down into the basement.
Yeah, straight down. And this guy was playing laundry chute when he was 5 years old. His cousins took turns dropping things down the chute while someone stood at the bottom. For the most part, he was thinking things like washcloths, stuffed animals, clothing items. And it just so happened that when I stood under the chute, my cousin dropped a 5-pound dumbbell. He has to part his hair in a different spot
now
because of God. Cousins pulled a Kevin McAllister. That's what they're calling it.
Oh man,
that's bad. All right, love M&Ms. This guy loves M&Ms. When he was 3 years old, he found a blue M&M behind the stove, and he ate it. It was rat poison.
Ugh.
Thing about rat poison is rats can't throw up, so that's how they die. You can throw up rat poison, so there.
He was fine.
Well, yeah, fine but poisoned.
Well, yeah,
as fine as you can be when you're poisoned. Yes.
So,
go ahead, pick one up.
This one, Loch Ness Master Lives said, carrying a toilet by myself after having painted the bathroom. They got caught up in the drop cloth and fell on the toilet, smashing it, and a piece of porcelain cut into their knee. I guess their dad was there, took them to the hospital, and the doctor said that it had missed their artery by 1/4 inch. And if he had been a smaller man, he would have bled out on the way to the hospital. He is 6'2", 350 pounds.
The porcelain toilet thing, man. Oh, God, just cutting through like that. I've stepped on some shit. You know, like glass, broken glass on the ground. I stepped right on it getting out of the hot tub. Oh, it hurts. So, yeah, no, I'm not a fan of getting cut like that. I don't know if anything ever should have killed me. I rode around on my bike a long time without a helmet.
That probably could have killed you.
Probably pretty stupid, but I was young and adventurous, and I didn't need the confines of a helmet to hold me back.
But you've never had a moment where it was like, oh, that was close.
Every day, Kendra.
I was gonna say, we've all got those moments.
Every day.
Where it's like, if this was a horror movie, then I would be dead right now. I remember
specifically, I was in the kitchen one time holding a knife, and I had it blade in like you're supposed to do, and I ran into the counter, and it went into me. But it didn't go into me hard. I was like, oh, that could have
been bad.
Gone really into me, you know, like that could have been the worst. So yeah, that was a time, you know, not too many brushes with death. Like I say, the most extreme I get is driving in the extreme weather. You know what I'm saying?
The winter weather.
That's what really tickles my nether regions. That's my extreme sport. I used to want to go skydiving as a kid, but my extreme sport is driving around when it's bad weather. We just had the bomb cyclone come through. It was bad weather. I was driving around. I was telling the grocery guy about it. I'm like, yeah, I love this bad weather. We were slipping around. They're like, don't go out on the roads. I'm like, I want to go.
Did you see the videos from South Dakota? The cows are completely covered in snow from the bomb cyclone that went through.
Yeah, well, this lady, this is called the bomb cyclone penis right here. These kids, this is how you don't want to react, you know? These kids were making a giant snow, what do you want to call it? Zucchini? It's a penis.
Cucumber?
It's a penis. But this lady who's in a wheelchair comes out to confront them. She's armed with a broom, and she tries to take it down. The kids surprisingly fight back a little bit. She probably didn't expect them to fight back. Let's watch.
Take it down. You touched me and I will call the police for assault.
I'm not touching you.
Let go of my broom. Take it down.
She wants them to take
All right.
Take it down.
She starts poking it with a broom. You can imagine a poke doesn't do much damage, it just goes right through. But if you keep poking, eventually the penis will fall. And this came from the web. Now, what do you think about this? Kids having fun.
You people are disgusting.
I mean,
You people are disgusting.
Yeah.
are you going to tear down everything that has ever been built in the name of penises? Because you've got a lot of work to do, lady.
Well, Kendra's done her penis research. Let's watch her take this thing down real quick. I'm gonna turn it back up. See how she does it. She's, you know, they're all sad. Do you think she,
Nobody else has got the damn ball.
Yeah, more pictures, people.
The cops didn't even like it.
she says nobody's got the damn balls to take down the penis. That's too good.
Yeah.
Anyway, she makes it fall over.
Picture.
The kid says we're just gonna build it back stronger and bigger. But I get what she's saying. Now she's stuck.
Ed, you can remake
She
it.
can't even reverse.
Yeah, and I'll be out.
We're gonna make it bigger and straighter.
We're gonna make it bigger and straighter, he says. Kids having fun? Should we jump in? Should we stop the snow penises of the world?
I am not offended by body parts. Nope, not even a little bit. It's a bunch of kids, and by making a big deal about it, you're actually giving them a spectacle to laugh at.
Lady, nobody else has the balls. Kids, we haven't gotten that far yet. They're about to make them. You know, her mind's kind of in the gutter. It's a big zucchini. I think, I don't know. You gotta let kids be kids, right?
Of all the things, I am not offended by a penis. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even make an argument for
What about-
why
what
she would be
about,
so
you know,
offended.
what about like a nice little old lady grandma or something like that? You know.
Is grandma virgin?
Okay.
I mean, and like, if you want to argue that, you know, kids shouldn't see that, well, I don't think that there's anything inherently shameful about a human body, and nor do I think you should be making your child feel bad about their body by making them, you know, try to cover it up. And I'm not saying like be an exhibitionist, but, you know, hey, kids are making little snow penises, like whatever. Like,
It's not a statue stone. This person, Brown Sugar Bear, writes, it's sad to see people who can't really enjoy their own lives and expect everyone around them to also be miserable. These kids were just being kids. The boys across the road made a huge snowman and stuck a carrot and stones on his crotch. Funniest shit we've seen. So that's what she's talking about from her own experience, or he. When the snow started to melt, caught my spouse straightening the snowman's carrot when it started to droop. We support the kids being silly. Imagine that. Like, oh, you know, so, you know, I don't know.
yeah, it's just a human body, man. Chill out.
It's kind of funny. It is. My mom wouldn't appreciate it. I'll tell you what, because I grew up in a household where my mom would not think that's funny. So,
Well, if it was my children, let's say I've got a high schooler and they decided to do that, yes, I would make them tear it down because I don't want a penis in my front yard, and it's my front yard.
nor do you want your family known for making snow penises.
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but if you're in college and you're living outside of a frat house, which is what the street looked like, was a bunch of frat houses, like, whatever, man. You do you.
I guess, you know, you just got to let them build the penises, you know, tear them down after they're done, let them go away and then knock it over or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, it's fair game. It's just like any other snow sculpture that is in fear of being knocked down.
Exactly.
Now it's national news and it's everywhere. So it's, you know, what was your goal? Was your goal to quietly take it down or cause a big ruckus? And now it's national news where you're tearing down snow penises.
Don't be a snow penis hater.
Let's have them discuss that on fucking NPR. Anyway, me and Kendra talked to NPR this week. It was good. They're nice people, and I don't think we're what they're looking for. I think they're looking for
a woman.
a solid, educated, quiet-spoken, and willing to discuss the topics here on the radio station, classical or otherwise, here in northern Michigan. Taking a look at today's weather. That's what they want. I mean, they don't want.
I mean,
You know.
I want to defend them.
No, defend them. It's fine. I mean, they're just. It was great to meet them. It was great, and her ideas were way different than you know. I have ideas, and I'm like bringing to them a set of things I've learned throughout my life, And no, I can't change the system there. Like nothing will change. They're fucking FM. They're stuck in their thinking unless I find somebody who is progressive in their thinking to really expand to figure out the next levels of entertainment. I'm stuck.
I think
Stick
that
to stage plays.
I would much rather see you continue to be a revolutionary and make your own art than try to conform what other artists tell you your art should be. And so
Fuck them. You know, I spent my life doing this shit, and I'm willing to listen, but they're not willing to listen to me. Like they're the gods of end all be all communication.
it can be intimidating
radio. You
to
know?
listen to somebody have a lot of ideas. You know,
Yeah,
you don't know what
they're just
about.
ideas. Kick them around. Yes, no, maybe so. Or if I'm naive, educate me. You know, whatever it is. But don't tell me that the people on the radio station are more poised to do what I cannot. You know, just maybe I'm not about reading news. I mean, I love reporting news, but not in the NPR style. I just, I see their point. You know, I get it. You know, and much like you, I mean, you interviewed as well.
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw you under the bus, but they were fans of yours. I mean, they were clearly like, kind of rooting for you, which is good. I felt like, because you went to this, I didn't go to the station, but you went to the station.
Yeah, they invited me to the station. I got to see one of the most beautiful radio stations I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I will say that for a long time Right. And so I actually never got a rejection. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
I got a rejection. I got a letter saying they're going with someone else. And that's fine. And I'm like, no, hey, do it. But like, for Christ's sake, Traverse City, like, oh my God. I turn on the radio. It's very disappointing. You know, everything I hear is very disappointing. So, and sometimes not though. It's not always that. Sometimes I hear a DJ that's doing their thing, but is it memorable? No. Are they giving me something of value? Kind of. No. Are they, raising the stakes? Making what they're talking about sound important at least, or get me interested in it? No. So this is why we practice this here. And this is why we do this weekly show. It's entertaining for us. I'll go back and watch it. And I appreciate everybody who does watch it. I'm sorry for talking about NPR. Let's end this bitch. Let's end it with a bang. Speaking of
a bang,
of rebels, of artists, Shakespeare. I was looking into Shakespeare. Now Kendra was always in the Shakespeare. I've recently, in the previous 5 years, have come on to Shakespeare, done several plays and stuff like that, and really enjoyed the structure that he provides. But also, he's got a lot of great quotes.
He is a literary brilliant man.
Yeah, and I don't like the Instagram culture, the Facebook culture of like taking a quote and throwing it up on your fucking Facebook and acting like you wrote the shit or you stayed up all night to ponder it, or acting like you are that quote. People use quotes to be like, this is me. It's like, that's not you. You're not even being real.
I disagree with that concept. I believe that people use quotes because it's what they want to be, not because that's what they are.
I'm saying it's sometimes what they aren't. So it could be true.
Yeah.
It could be true on both what they want to be. But sometimes I'm like, that's a crock of shit coming out of your mouth. So a fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. That's a Shakespeare quote. And that's like, boom, he probably coined a lot of this shit, right?
I mean, he's certainly...
A wise man knows nothing. That's basically what he's saying. If you're wise, you know that you know nothing, basically, because there's so much to know.
Exactly. The smartest person asks all the questions is kind of what he's also, a hair of what he's
I love your
saying.
interpretations. It's good. I have to deal with your interpretations on a daily basis. It's fun. No, we know what we are, but know not what we may be. And that's one of your inspiring Shakespeare quotes, right?
Yes.
We know what we are, but know not what we may be, which is the future, what the future holds, right?
The unknown possibilities.
I would argue to say we know not what we are sometimes, or what we may be. Very good. Let's just cover these. You wanna say one, girl?
Well, I'm looking. Cowards may die many times before their death, but valiants never taste of death but once.
Valiance. What is valiance?
Well, I mean, I'd have to interpret that, but I would assume that is trying to say
qualities of a hero or heroine, exceptional or heroic courage when facing danger. It's okay to say you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opposite of coward.
Yeah, I guess so. Valiance, yes.
So what do you think that it's trying to say
I don't know, you
here?
have to read it again, it's tough.
Cowards die many times before their deaths, but valiant never taste of death but once. So I think it's about the way that cowardice tends to compromise your own and personal being. On your deathbed, people say the thing that you regret most is the thing that you didn't do.
Well, sure.
So to say like cowards die 1,000 deaths, it's you are constantly
I think it has to standing up for what you believe in is what he's talking about, right?
Sure. I mean, I believe that is part of it.
Because you give up. So if you compromise or you give up certain freedoms or something, you lose. But if you're valiant in your virtues and you stay there, you will not lose until you've lost, and then that's everything. So it's really raising the stakes on a lot of what you do. Like it is the end. You don't do multiple battles. There is the one battle, and that is the end, is what he's saying, I think. Yeah, you picked a real deep one there. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. So some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them, right? So sometimes you're just put in a position where you're struggling to thrive. Sometimes it seems like people were just, there from the get-go, born into greatness, like President Donald Trump. Some people were, and some people have greatness thrust upon them. Like our Westminster canine winner.
Exactly,
the
just
wired-haired
like that.
terrier. The empty vessel makes the loudest sound. The empty vessel makes the loudest sound. Well, it's easier. Empty vessel means nothing up top, a lot down here. La 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 la.
Yep.
Right?
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I also like William Shakespeare's saying, "Listen to many, speak to a few."
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. I used to, when I was big into morning radio, like all my friends would be talking, hanging out with them. I'm the one with the talk show, and I'm not talking. I'm just soaking it in, Say a sentence here and there, then just soak it in. It's not my time to talk. Like, now's my time to talk, right?
Exactly.
During the show, and articulate ideas. But with them, I would just soak it in. Oh, viewpoints, so many different viewpoints and funniness going on. I enjoy soaking it in, right?
And choosing your words wisely too. It kind of ties in with that whole idea of empty up top, loud down bottom.
Loud down bottom. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely
that just made me funny. I know.
Choose your words wisely.
Yes. And be loud down bottom. So those are some of the quotes. And finally, we'll leave you with one last one. What was it? Brevity is the soul of wit. Brevity, being brief, is the soul of wit. Yeah, it's hard to be witty and long-winded. You got to keep it short. And Shakespeare knew that, Each one of his verses or each one of his phrases, there's so much to it, where if you drop a word, it totally changes what it could mean. As is with any good writing when you're reporting it and stuff. So that's a little bit of Shakespeare. I just want to say, this is how bad movies start real quick. A rare virus outbreak at sea has left U.S. Navy warship quarantined for over 2 months.
2 months at sea.
It's like the mumps or something, the measles or whatever.
Highly contagious. It's a variation of, right? The mumps.
Yeah, it's like the variation of the mumps. But, that's how the horror movies start.
It is, friends.
We can't contain it. Let's
stay at sea.
Put it on the virus. So there we go. That's the week for this week. Kendra, want to catch people up where you're at? I mean, I think we kind of did, didn't we?
We did kind of let them in a little bit on the whole NPR thing. So I mean, that's the biggest thing that's happened to us all week. I've been waiting for a rejection, waiting.
Well, I can give you one if you really want. Just start.
Does it mean anything?
No, it's okay. I did some other things for the for the show as far as like adding red lights. See, there's this red light going across here. I just want to show the visual listeners. I could do different things with graphics and stuff that I've kind of been working on. But, all in all, it was our unveiling of This Week in Reddit.
And then the bad movie review.
And then Kendra's bad movie review, which kind of took off for a little bit. So those are great. We hope to add more to the show every single week. And I just want to thank you for joining us. If you've been watching us through and through and have stayed with us, we really appreciate it. Yeah. Because without anybody watching, I don't know if the show would continue. It probably would, but, hey.
Oh,
I need people. I need feedback.
We would do it for ourselves, but it's a better show if we do it for you guys. So
and we're gonna find more of you. We're gonna get more. we'll maybe put out some advertising or something as we get the place really show ready to put some money behind it to put out there.
But word of mouth is really the best advertising. So talk to your friends.
Yeah. Give us some mouth, will you? Give us some mouth.
Or give us 5 stars on iTunes. I think there's a rating system on Spotify.
Somebody gave us a like last week.
It's nice.
It's real
we like
nice.
the likes.
It's real nice. And I like you. So we'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. Later.
Bye.